Hello, and welcome to the Stellantis Tech and AI podcast. I'm Dale Jewett, your host, and I'm here today with Chris Campos, who is the head of software business at Stellantis. And we'll be talking about one of the hottest topics in the auto industry, software in vehicles and connected features. Thanks, Chris, for joining us for this chat.
Thank you, Dad.
Before we get going, Chris, I'd love to learn a little bit about you and how you've ended up into this position where you're heading up all of our software business.
I am with Stellantis for a long time. So I started when we were Fiat 25 years ago. And I worked in many different areas like finance, commercial, business development. And I would say where we have a challenge, this is the place that I like to be, and it's not different here. So I'm very excited to work in this area that is completely new, and the entire industry is finding the way to position ourselves in the automotive. So if we look behind, you will see that many other industries, they already got to this digital transformation of their business, and we are in this path.
Okay. And can you give me a small description of the group that you head up within Stellantis? What is its portfolio? What does it do?
Yeah, so we are in charge of what we call software business unit. It is sales, marketing, operations, all our fleet business, data business. So everything related to connected services, it is in this same umbrella.
Okay. So we're moving really way beyond my initial belief of software in vehicles, which really was focused on controlling the powertrain and improving vehicle efficiency and vehicle performance. And now we're really becoming much more involved with the environment inside the vehicle as you're taking a trip, either for your daily commute or a nice long road trip, as I did recently to a couple thousand miles out to Arizona. And one of the things I noticed, because my father-in-law was my traveling companion, and he had questions about things as we're driving along. He'd never been into the Western United States before. And it sure would have been nice to have more references to try and answer his questions. Is that the type of software that we're trying to work on in your part of the empire?
Yeah, you are on the spot, because this is exactly what we are doing, and what you said is already a reality in some of the products that we have. For example, for Peugeot brand DS and Opel in Europe, we have ChatGPT on board. So if you were using one of these vehicles, you could provide very good information to your father. And by the way, we just received award from AutoBest in Europe due to the introduction of this feature to our customers.
Congratulations. That's great news to hear. Now we just have to work with you, Chris, to try and help bring some of that technology to North America. And I'm sure we're probably working on that.
Yeah, for sure we are.
Well, if you don't mind me being a little bit personal, so when you're in one of our vehicles, what are some of your favorite features that we've been able to make happen with software?
I love our embedded navigation, believe me or not. I know that we have many other possibilities, no, and we have many other ways to get our trip planning, but I really like our embedded navigation because it is very precise. So every time that I am in a place that I don't know, I prefer much more to use the embedded solution that we have. And the other very important feature for me, it is the Wi-Fi, because I have three daughters, and every time that we enter in a car, they start to ask, can you hotspot your phone? And with this convenient Wi-Fi, there is no questions. We don't have problem that one is using, the other one cannot use, so it is very easy and convenient.
Excellent. That's an interesting question, I think, that I've tried to think about as we're on this journey of software in vehicles. today many people, I think in both North America and Europe, are very comfortable using their mobile phone as their primary interface device. And we've made it easier in our vehicles for the phone to connect with the vehicle. But it seems to be we're trying to move beyond the phone. I don't know if we're trying to become separate from the phone or if we're just trying to become more enhanced with the mobile phone in the car with what we're trying to do with our software services.
Yeah, I think one will not replace the other one, so there is no fight between the vehicle and the phone. No, both of them they are very important to customer. But the point is how we transition from one to another in a smoothly way to our customers. This is the balance that we are trying to find.
Okay. That's good to hear. I mean, I know we've talked about some features like the digital key, where actually the mobile phone works as a key or becomes part of the vehicle and helps you do things. And I think that's an interesting future that a lot of people would have interest in. So I hope you keep working on that. But I think that leads me to another question, which is how do we decide what types of features to offer in vehicles through software?
Yeah, so we have several ways to define a product. For sure, we look to trends, consumer behavior, these kind of things. But one very important point to us is the feedback that we receive in the day by day from customers. And we are also always looking to customer pain points because those are the main opportunities that we have to provide products and services that can be used in real life.
Another important question, I think, for people considering using features in their vehicle, and it's actually something that's caused controversy in the past. A lot of people like the features in their vehicle, but they expect that once they purchase the vehicle, all these features all belong to the vehicle. And I know other automakers have at times suggested, well, maybe a feature that's enabled in your vehicle will work if you pay a subscription for it. And not everybody agrees that that's necessarily the right way to go about things. How do we strike a balance? How do we decide which features are best included with the vehicle versus what features might be offered at an additional charge like a subscription?
Yeah, so we consider 2 points. No, one is the interest of a customers for one specific feature, and another one is the willingness to pay. So I will elaborate a little bit more to you to understand what is the meaning of a feature that I want, but I don't think that I should pay, and
Mhm.
a feature that uh, I I would love, I see value, and I am willing to pay for that specific feature. And this can change a lot from country to country, and we need to consider this. So we try to have a uniform policy across all the world, but we have always some particularity country by country. And just to give you an easy example, for example, karaoke is a feature that is very welcome and customers are willing to pay in Japan. But for
Mm.
sure, it's not the reality of other countries. So I'm sure that in US, people are not willing to pay for karaoke, for example.
Chris, I don't know about that. I pay for the Sirius XM satellite radio service in my vehicles, and if I'm driving alone, I wouldn't inflict this on my family, but it might be karaoke if I'm just singing along, right? With one of the songs, I don't necessarily need the words on the screen because it's all old music to me, and I remember most of those words. So hopefully none of that video ever shows up on the internet. But that is an interesting thing about regional differences. I'm not asking you to give up future product information, but I'm very interested in what differences there are in North American customers versus European customers.
Yeah, so we have some differences and also by regulation. No, so there are some features, and I will give you one example. The remote start of your vehicle, that is a very welcome feature in the US. By
Hmm.
law, by regulation, we cannot offer the same feature in Europe. So sometimes we are driven by customer behavior, sometimes we are driven by regulatory items that we cannot offer, no something in some countries. And there are a lot of differences between customer behaviors. And also, when we start a product, normally we start in a specific car line, in a specific country. And after that, after we test and after we see that that product is according to customer expectation, we start to expand the product. One example of products that we are in this path to expand is the point of interest that you have in your car. So here in the US, when you are driving, you see, for example, the price of a gas station. No, you see this in your
Hmm.
navigation, and we are expanding same kind of services to customers in Europe. Yeah, and on top of this, we are trying more services, to that point of interest. All the services related to mobility. So, like, for example, tolls, parking, these kind of services that will improve a lot the convenience to our customers.
So also within Stellantis, we have 14 brands and each one of them is very distinct. Does your team decide, hey, there are some features that would be great for one or two of our brands, but don't necessarily need to go to all of them?
So we have these kind of features. And one good example is, for example, e-routes in Europe. That is
Hmm.
an app that provides planning to EV customers. And we need to offer this kind of services when we don't have the embedded connected navigation in the vehicle. So this is one kind of specifics for one brand or for one car line that it is a complementary services that we provide. And there are other features that they are very consistent with the brands. So we have some for Jeep and some for DS that they are specific for that brand and should not make sense to introduce in another car line. No, because it is very brand oriented.
Earlier in our
Exactly.
chat, you had mentioned how we're using ChatGPT in some of our vehicles in Europe. Are there other ways that we're leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning to develop our features as well as make our vehicles more useful?
Yeah, so we have AI in many parts of the development, no, and that can speed up a lot the development. We also use in researches to put everything together and to make sure that we are considering all the perspectives before we develop a feature. We are bringing to the vehicle. So I mentioned about the ChatGPT, but there are other developments that I cannot talk a lot. It's coming soon. So we have other things related to AI that will help our customers in their day by day. And
To me, interesting that we're working with customers and gathering their feedback. But I think that brings up an important consideration, particularly in North America and Europe. This means some data is going back and forth between the vehicle and Stellantis. How do we address concerns from people that, hey, my data might not be used in a way that I would want it to, or that my data might be shared with someone who I don't necessarily requires or needs that level of information? Can we protect the data and still use it to help make our products better?
yeah, you are touching a very good and sensitive point. And in Stellantis, we have a commitment that we just use customer data to improve the quality of our products and the quality of our services. All the rest of data usage, we are 100% covered by customer consent. So if there is no consent, there is no data that we can share, that we can use for different reasons rather than improve product, improve the quality of our services.
Interesting part of the veneers. You mentioned that you've been with the company for a long time and you've worked in many different areas. In this particular role, what has been the most helpful to you? I'm not sure if how much experience you had with software before you joined this part of the company to work on connected services.
I started to have some experience with the software when when I was the CFO of a joint venture that we have in this area of software.
Hmm.
So that was my first experience with the software. And after that, I joined the software team in August last year. So
Hmm.
this is my truly experience, with the software and with customers. And it is a very good and exciting journey. The speed is something that counts a lot. So speed and the quality about what you do. No, so those are the main points. And there are a lot of OEMs moving very fast, and customers they are expecting to receive new features to make their life easier every single day. No, so we are always running to deliver something that is meaningful to customers.
Well, Chris, you've been very generous with your time, and I appreciate it. I have just one more question for you. Um, Someone who's listened to this conversation, someone who enjoys software and vehicles, if they're interested in working into this space, and maybe today they're at a university or at a college, what advice would you give them to want to be part of your team?
First is to be customer centric, really put customer around all the conversation, around all the decisions that we have. So work thinking since the beginning about our customers and their experiences. So this is one crucial, do the right for the customers. This is one point that we really appreciate. The other characteristic is related to be the best partner. So we don't do anything alone anymore in this world. We need always to work in partnership. We need to partner with our colleagues, with a different part of the company, because in the end, we don't sell software. No, we sell vehicles. And we need to partner with the brands, with the engineer team, with the sales, with everyone. So be a good partner is extremely important in this new environment.
Excellent. That's great advice, Chris. And I want to thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed chatting with you. I feel like I've learned a couple things. If I want to get the ChatGPT into our vehicles in North America for the next time I have to take a road trip with a family member and they have questions that I can't answer. So I look forward to all of that. So thanks a lot. It's really been fun and educational here.
Thank you. And the time was flying. I didn't realize that we spent the 30 minutes.
That's
Thank you,
right.
very
That,
nice,
that,
very good
that
conversation.
means we're doing a great job. So thank you very much, Chris. And I want to thank all of
Thank you.
you who are listening for tuning in to the Stellantis Tech and AI podcast, where we speak with some of the brightest minds in the tech and automotive industries, like Chris. We invite you to follow Stellantis Tech and AI on LinkedIn and Instagram to join the conversation, stay updated on what's ahead, and be a part of the community exploring the fast line of tech and AI in the automotive world. We'll see you again soon.